Welcome to the Monuments and Movements podcast. On today's episode, we're going to discuss child exploitation in Hollywood and the media, and what we can do to stand up and protect our children. Let's talk about it.
Well, hey, welcome to Monuments and Movements. I'm Justin, and this is my man Kenny.
How's it going?
Yo, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hanging out.
Yeah?
Having fun. Another day. Another dollar earned.
Yeah? Cool. What's going on? What's new?
Man, so many things are new. So I've developed a new love-hate relationship with masks that go beyond your typical political standards, I guess I'll say.
Do you mean like superhero masks?
No, I love those.
Okay.
Period. End of sentence.
We might come out with one on our next episode. Just give you the heads up.
No, so I pretty much hate masks all the time. Pretty much hate them. Mostly because, like, you know, I'm a little asthmatic. So, you know, anything that hinders breathing just kind of sucks in general.
Yeah.
But I do find that I love them when I go into, like, a public restroom.
Interesting.
They're super handy.
For what?
I mean, you know, I'm walking into a restroom and I think that, okay, I can kind of like lower my mask a little bit, can breathe, and then I'm like, nope, put this thing back on and strap it tighter because, you know, you just don't want to breathe certain fumes that...
Yeah. I feel you. I mean,
I don't know why that's why I decided to open up with tonight, but here we are. Yeah. That's the level we're at.
No, I mean...
I'm going for it.
I guess everyone's got their thing when it comes to the mask. I guess that's your thing. So, you like to wear it. You hate wearing it except from the bathroom.
Yeah. I mean, not my personal bathroom.
Gotcha.
But just like general. Like. Anyway, let's move on. Let's press forward. There's a bar. We set it real low for tonight.
Okay.
All right, let's get it started. I wanted to kind of chat about, I thought it'd be fun. We could talk about, do a little segment on lessons we've learned in the hood.
Lessons in the hood. From boys in the hood.
From boys in the hood. And girls.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my wife were talking about this the other night, like certain things we learned growing up in our neighborhoods that that you kind of carry on today. One thing I think all of us kind of share is the how would you call it? I guess the acquired skill of you can hear like an ice cream man a mile away. Whether it's the jingle or if it's the Christmas music playing in the middle of July.
Yeah.
You can hear an ice cream man from a mile away, especially if you grew up in my neighborhood where there may or may not have been certain kids that I may or may not have known to climb on roofs and throw eggs, allegedly, at the ice cream man as he passed by.
Were you one of those kids?
I may or may not have been.
It's the reason we can't have nice things. You're one of those kids.
The ice cream man.
Couldn't have nice things growing up.
I do recall the ice cream man being pretty mean guy.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, dude, he tried to beat up a kid, like, on the block.
Why?
Well, I mean, okay, so the kid was trying to...
tell the whole story.
Well, the kid was trying to hitch a ride on his his van with the skateboard, and the ice cream man got out, and it was on.
So did you guys ever buy ice cream? Or you guys just harass the ice cream
man? But I'm
man?
pretty sure to this day, the ice cream man very rarely goes down my block, and I haven't lived there for like 10 years. No, less than 10 years.
Yeah, we had... my neighborhood was a way different experience. We loved the ice cream man. I mean, even if we're like getting in fights, you know, and there's like...
Ice cream.
Yeah, once the ice cream man comes, it's like parlay. Everyone's cool. Let's go hang out at the ice cream truck. He was like the great uniter.
I guess it's not necessarily.
He probably made a lot of money off of us, though.
Oh yeah, I remember when ice creams used to be $1,
bro. And the WWF.
Oh yeah.
Ice cream bars. You had like your favorite wrestler on the front, and then a little chocolate on the back, and
Triple H.
Yeah, it came with a little cardboard card.
Oh yeah, I just remember them being like a flat $1. Now they're like $1.75. Like I have to break a whole $5 to give my nephew an ice cream. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Hey man.
I guess those aren't really lessons. What's one thing you learned growing up in the hood?
Growing up in the hood, I'd say don't start nothing, there won't be nothing. Just don't mess with people, and you won't get messed with. And typically, the people who got messed with were the ones who were always starting stuff.
Yeah. Those kids either learn to be very tough because they get beat up a lot, or they learn to to watch their tongue.
Yeah. And that was one of the things growing up is you knew people who never really got in fights because they were always the ones trying to start fights.
Yeah.
But the kids who had been in a lot of fights or who were really good fighters, they were actually usually the pretty level-headed ones. So
Using their power wisely.
Yeah.
One thing that I learned was being the good kid hurts. What I mean is, there was one specific time where I remember. This story is about a different ice cream man. This ice cream man. This ice cream man. We'd all gotten off the bus, and this ice cream man, at the perfect timing. I don't know why. This one was on the little cart with the little bells. Mm-hmm. And he went into the restroom that was at the park, and he left his bike.
Oh no!
Unattended.
That's his bad, man.
And
that's on him.
And the rest of my friends were all walking home in that direction. I hope my mom doesn't watch this. They wanted to go, take ice cream, borrow ice cream from him. If you can say that.
Yeah. They wanted to use it. They were going to return it.
And I was like, no, man, we can't do that. No. So they're like, fine. And I just remember being pelted with everybody's backpacks. Here, watch our stuff. As all the kids.
You were the good kid.
I was a good kid, and I had to carry everybody's. I was an accomplice.
Yeah.
Because I had to walk home that direction.
But the cool thing about being a good kid is you probably never got in trouble. Or maybe you had all the bad parts of the good kid. But,
yeah.
The thing about the good kid was he was always so good, so the adults never believed they did anything bad.
Yeah. Yeah, but you get tired of getting picked on, and you always just end up tagging along to the toilet papering of the houses, and then being the one kid that has to stand watch because you don't want to physically toilet paper the houses because you're too afraid of getting whooped when you get home if your parents find out.
But then you can honestly tell your mom, look, I didn't put any toilet paper on it. It wasn't me.
What was something else you learned?
Something else I learned. Don't mess with anyone's food.
How'd you learn that lesson?
I don't know, it's like when people aren't looking and you take a fry or something. People get really upset. I used to get really upset about that. It hasn't happened to me in a while. I don't know if I'd still get upset. But don't mess with no one's food and don't talk about no one's mama. You'll probably get along with anyone.
Don't talk about anyone's food and don't mess with no one's mama.
Yeah, that works too.
I think another ability is kind of like learning the difference between gunshots or fireworks.
Yeah.
Big difference.
More gunshots or more fireworks?
I think more fireworks.
Okay.
But you learn the difference of them.
Yeah.
You always kind of count. You're like, wait, firework.
Yeah. No, that was cool, man. Growing up, we had to go outside after school. So after school, we take off our school clothes, we put on our play clothes, and you have to play outside. And so we grew up like that. Hang out with all the neighborhood kids, ride your bikes to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Play baseball in the street. You just kind of learn to roll and
break a window.
Yeah. It was cool. It was fun times. Then you have to be in before the street light comes on.
Yep.
That was our curfew.
Yep.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. When the world was open.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Me and my wife were talking about this one. Making an X in your tags on your license plate.
Oh, so no one steals them?
So no one steals them?
I still do that.
I think Val still does that.
Yeah. So maybe if you don't know, what they would tell us is we'd have to slice, basically cut your car registration stickers, because the thing is people will come and steal them. So if you cut it and you slice it into little pieces, people aren't going to want to peel off every little piece, so they'll leave you alone.
Mm-hmm. Did anybody ever peel yours off?
I always cut them. So, yeah. Who knows?
Oh, man.
Maybe my next stickers. I'll leave them on and see.
I don't know. Hey, these are real lessons you learn.
Yeah.
You learn, like
That's how I'm surviving. That's how I'm still standing.
When you're walking down the street and there's people walking towards you, and it's not racial profiling or anything like that, but if there's more of them than there is you, you're most likely walking to the other side of the street. You're more than likely.
When there's more of them?
When there's more of them than there are of you.
Gotcha. Like when you're walking alone and you see a group coming up.
You're walking to the other side. They could be nice. They could be cool guys. Or girls. I ain't getting beat up by a group of guys or a group of girls.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows I would. I'm also keeping everything in my front pocket.
Yeah.
I'm not putting anything in my back pocket. I get mad at my wife because sometimes she puts stuff in the little side pocket of her purse. I'm like, dude, don't put it there. She's like, why? It's not like somebody's going to steal it. I'm like, no, you're asking for it. Someone's going to take it. Don't do it. Life lessons.
Yeah.
Life lessons in the hood.
Growing up in the hood.
All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about something with a little more depth to it. Even though lessons you learn in the hood are quite vital. Something this week that dropped. Netflix actually dropped a new movie called Cuties.
Oh yeah, they dropped the trailer for it. I don't think they've released it yet.
They dropped. Oh yeah, okay. So they dropped the trailer about it, and online the internet was exploding all kinds of different ways about it, and we wanted to discuss that tonight. You want to explain a little bit more about the movie?
Yeah. So I saw the promo for it. They originally had a poster, and the poster was of a bunch of 11-year-olds not wearing a lot of clothes, twerking. And the synopsis is basically this 11-year-old girl sees a twerking crew and becomes fascinated with twerking and explores her femininity and defies her family's traditional values. I'm paraphrasing, but I think that was pretty close to what the original synopsis was.
And so they've changed they came out with an original kind of synopsis and trailer that they changed. So they edited something, right? What did they change?
They changed the poster because they got a lot of complaints about the poster, and they changed the synopsis to be like, I think an 11-year-old girl becomes fascinated with a dance crew.
Wow.
And I don't know.
All right.
Along those lines.
Well. There's a lot to talk about there. There's a lot in that. A lot going on. I think my first main kind of reaction about all of this, I mean, obviously there's huge things going on in the world with children and there's a whole thing we can get into what they should or shouldn't be learning in schools and TV shows and programs. I mean, now you see all these crazy videos about all these things that Disney and Nickelodeon have been pushing in the backgrounds of these shows all these years, and the producers and the writers of these things end up to be like, I don't know, I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but ended to be like crazy kind of pedophiles with weird backgrounds, a bunch of things going on. But what is your initial thoughts on this?
My initial thoughts, I mean, really my only thoughts, like, why? It's sick. What they're trying to do is they're trying to normalize sexual exploitation of children. They're trying to make it a normal thing.
Right.
Like, it's at the point where now you would see a poster of young 11-year-old girls twerking. Mm-hmm. And for a company to put that up and not even think, hey, this might be weird.
Right.
And what's crazy is they got some backlash for it. Mm-hmm. And all I did was edit the poster. I'm like, I think you guys missed the point.
Right.
But no, it's an attempt to just, there's this sexual revolution that's been going on. And there's this line that keeps getting pushed back further and further and further. And now, children are the ones who are starting to get dragged into it. Mm-hmm. Why does anyone need to see a movie about an 11-year-old girl's twerking?
Right.
I'm going to make an assumption here. I'm going to say, in terms of the production crew, people who shot the film, I'm going to say at least half of them are adult men.
Sure.
How do you have that many adult men or corporate executives, guys behind the cameras, directors, producers. I don't get how you have that many grown men and not one person say, hey, these are 11-year-old girls. We're doing a movie about them twerking.
Right. There's a big distinction being made here, and even just the poster. If you didn't get a chance to see the poster, I mean, they're full on dressing like definitely not how any 11-year-old girl I know should be dressing, and it's not even a matter of like, which I think they try to push is, like you said, like femininity. It's not even like a matter of that, but it's more of just like what should these kids? And I didn't even check the rating. Do you remember the rating on it? Is it like?
I think it was MA or something.
So then that's the thing. It was rated. Yeah, I remember seeing that. It was rated like mature. I think we can get a. Jesus, you want to check that fact for us? So like these 11-year-old children technically wouldn't be old enough to watch their own show.
It's true.
Like I mean, I know I'm hitting on a different side of this, but even I don't know. There's a lot to this, and I'm trying to like gather my thoughts as we're discussing it. But I just think there's so many things out there that TVMA. So I mean, there's so many things, but one big thing is at a time when we should be the most sensitive with this. I know we have a million things going on in the world, it seems like. But one of the big news stories, obviously, is the whole Epstein Island and underage sex trafficking and all of that. At a time when we should kind of be a little bit, I feel like companies should be a little bit more sensitive about that. Like, hey, the entire world is alerted to this thing right now. Mm-hmm. Netflix releases this thing when people are already. I mean, there's. And it's everywhere. I mean, I've seen videos recently of what troll dolls are?
I heard something about that, yeah.
Just these weird things where parents all over are finding these just weird, inappropriate things with these troll dolls and things that kids shouldn't, their dolls or toys shouldn't have on them, and just weird things like that. And this is all like hand in hand. And something we can kind of get into is when you try to normalize this kind of sexual content at this age, I mean, the damage that could potentially be done to, obviously, these girls that are acting in this, mm-hmm. The message they're trying to portray, and who knows how many young people are going to watch this. It blows my mind that this is people at Netflix would think that this is okay to watch. And like you said, not that they would take it off Netflix, but they just change the poster to make everybody happy. They would think that would make everybody happy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, it's a society problem. Like, there's just this line, right? This, for sake of discussion, I'll call it this moral line, mm-hmm. right? And especially with sexuality, it's just the line keeps getting pushed back further,
right,
and further and further. Not only that, but there's this ideology, there's this conditioning, right, that happens as a result. Where, I feel like 10 years ago, like this would have never flown. Period.
No.
All the public would be in an uproar. Right now, I see a lot of people in uproar, but to be honest, I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's not so bad." Oh, there you guys go. Trying to bash this, trying to shut this down, but this is a really good movie. Someone had even said, like, it won some independent film awards, festivals, whatever. Yeah. And there's kind of this idea, like, well, but for the sake of art, this is okay. And I think people got to wake up, man. Like, you got to use your critical thinking skills, right? I mean, this isn't the first time Netflix has done this. Right? Mm-hmm. There's a TV show, or there's a show on Netflix, I forget the name of it, but it's like this 10-year-old guy, or this 10-year-old boy, who travels across the U.S. in a busted-up RV with a performing drag queen. He runs away, and they, like, find each other while he's running away, and they go across the U.S. together while this drag queen performs. Right? Uh-huh. Now, you can call me a hater. Oh, you're hating on drag culture, you're hating on this. which I strongly disagree with that culture. And I'm going to say it. I don't apologize for that. I think it's wrong. But what is this fixation, this obsession with bringing kids into it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'll tell you what I think it is I think that line is getting pushed further back, and they're trying to condition us, and they're trying to normalize our society to think this is okay.
Yeah.
Right. And I just think, as a man, right, I think, there's got to be some men who rise up and say no.
Right.
Obviously women and mothers as well. I think obviously I see the world through the lens of a man, so I kind of get a little more like I'm a man, like let's man up. But we as a society, those of us who are still critically thinking about this stuff, right, we got to step up and say, like, come on, like, this is too far. Right. We got to vote, with our dollars. Like, me, I canceled Netflix a while ago. I canceled it when, I think it was a year ago, they put something about, like, a gay Jesus. I don't know if you'd heard about that. Mm-hmm. And Netflix had praised it as, oh, this is so courageous. And, this is a bold new take. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not bold. You want to be bold? Go put out a show about a gay Muhammad. See, you even felt the chills. You said that, right? Because I know Christians aren't going to do anything. We're not going to go attack anyone. We're not going to go.
Sure.
Our protest will probably be just a protest, right? And they might lose some dollars, but they know there's no repercussions for that.
Sure.
Anyway, sorry, I'm kind of getting off in the weeds.
Well, no, I think one thing you said, and I'm feeling this a lot, not just about this subject, but about just about everything going on in the world in particular. I feel like there's certain viewpoints that, for whatever reason, free speech isn't as free as it used to be, which is part of what makes America great. We live in a place where reporters can openly badmouth a president and not fear of being killed. Mm-hmm. Like, do that in China. Do that in China and see what happens.
I've been to China, and nope.
I've heard the other side of your China story.
Yeah, maybe that'll come out on another episode.
But
I've thrown down with their government, physically.
And you've been thrown down. But serious, do that in Russia. Badmouth Putin. See how that goes for you. In the Middle East, they will literally kill people in public squares.
Yeah.
And that it's not like, but that's what makes America great, is that we have this idea of free speech. But I feel like for people, especially who have, for whatever reason, who have more conservative views right now or less popular, I don't even think they're less popular, to be honest. I think they're more popular views. But for whatever reason, there's this overarching voice that is trying to silence people, and like you said, conditioning people to be okay with this. And it almost is like your initial response is to go off on an Instagram rant or something and say something about this. But if you're like me, your second thought is probably like, oh, but if I do that, I'm gonna have so many people yell at me. I'm gonna have so many people. But why is that? Why is that that is okay for people to push something like this, and then not okay for us to voice our disdain for it, like you were talking about the other show, Yeah. I think that's what makes this conversation great, is that, hey, we're gonna say our views. We're gonna try to talk about other people's views, but at the end of the day, hey, we stand for things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people in America are being challenged with right now, is because their view isn't openly celebrated by Facebook, by Twitter, by Instagram, by all these tech giants, because their view is blocked, banned, censored, they feel afraid to share their view. They feel like they're smaller than everybody else.
Yeah.
And to speak out against Netflix, almost feeling like you'll be attacked for that.
Yeah. So, come at me. If they want to come at us. But I would argue, going back to the free speech thing, I feel like this just opens the door, and we just want to talk about all these different points.
Sure.
But, the argument, well, this is free speech. This is how free speech works. I would argue this is not free speech.
Yeah.
I would argue that sexual exploitation of children is not free speech.
100%.
it's the same argument, for, I'm just talking about this whole sexual revolution, right?
Sure.
Let's talk about pornography, right? The fact that, what's the average age, I think, is 8 now that a young boy gets exposed to pornography, right? So on one side, I'm all about, I get this isn't a popular view, I'm all about putting a ban on pornography.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because it sexually exploits children, right? Little boys under the age of 18, and little girls, are being exposed, right, to this sexually just degenerative stuff, right? And it messes with them.
It's damaging.
Messes with their idea. When you have a generation of men who have grown up on pornography since they're 8, you're in trouble,
right?
And that's where we're headed,
right?
And so, but in terms of the whole sexual thing, right? So people say, well, porn's free speech. Well, there has to be consent, right? Because pornography is a sexual act, right? It's illegal unless you're 18, right? So therefore, by law, it's already not free speech, right? So now when you have 8-year-old kids looking at it, well, by law, an 8-year-old kid can't consent,
right?
What do you call it? You call that statutory rape, right? If you sleep with the minor or some sort of sexual misconduct with the minor, right? That's a crime, right? And so, especially when you're dealing with the area, adults, whatever.
Yeah.
Do what you want. But for me, what upsets me about this, I'm not upset about, Netflix having things about drag queens. I'm not upset about Netflix having things about twerking. I will probably never watch those. But what upsets me and what really gets my attention is the fact that they keep bringing kids into it.
Yeah.
And that the kids in our nation are just constantly getting sexually exploited.
Yeah.
Constantly sexually bombarded with all these images. They're being used in this manner.
Yeah.
Right? And our society is allowing it.
Well.
So for me, it's not a free speech thing.
Sure.
Right? You can argue free speech all day. But we're sexually exploiting the kids in our nation.
Well.
For me, that movie is about sexual exploitation. Now, people say, well, you've never seen it. I haven't. And I probably never will.
And I think the other part of what the synopsis was that we read earlier was, it said about going against the will, I'm paraphrasing, going against the will of her traditional family.
So when they redid it, and they resorted it to going against her family's conservative traditions, they brought conservative into it.
And so I feel like that's another. So there's the whole point of what we wanted, to discuss. Obviously, is the exploitation and the damaging nature of what is actually going on here. Yeah, you might say it's just a movie. It's just calm down, but it's more than that.
See, but you wouldn't have said that 10 years ago.
No, 100% you wouldn't have.
Because it's becoming normalized.
And there's so many men that we know, or have known, or have heard of, or that we work with, or whatever, that are addicted to pornography, and very damaging pornography, not only to themselves, their own present and future marriages, their own sexual desires, but also to the actors and actresses that they watch. So much of the porn industry is riddled with sex trafficking. So much of it.
Yep.
And
ban it.
And it's crazy. It's damaging to everybody involved. But the fact that having being around people and hearing conversations about this or that they watch or whatever has become so common that I hurt for people. I generally hurt for people. Not that I hate them or I think they're terrible people, but I generally hurt for people that something as terrible and as damaging as that is what brings them pleasure. But like we're saying, it's because it's becoming normalized at such a young age and a younger age and younger age. And think about any of your favorite Disney movies. There's I don't want to get like conspiratorial, but I mean, the premise of these movies are some of these movies you sit back and you think about them now, like The Little Mermaid. Like, I know you probably haven't watched The Little Mermaid in a while.
I don't remember a whole lot about the story.
But it's just, when you really think about it, it's movies like that, or just different things. And it's like, why are these kids being introduced to these things at such young ages? And then you look at the repercussions of what happens to people, and they're just damaged mentally. To be addicted to something like that is crazy. But I mean, and the other half of this conversation is also Netflix trying to I guess produce this norm of kids who go against their conservative parents' views, as if like that should be the normal thing to do, to go against your parents' views.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like how are you going to tell whether your conservative family's values or your liberal family's values? It's a slippery slope, man. It's not even a slippery slope. It's a cliff.
And I mean, it's really heartbreaking. I think, and that's the thing that we're trying to get at is right. It's not just this one particular show. It's more than that. It's a conversation that needs to be had. It's the conversations that parents need to have. I think parents need to take ownership over their children. Have the birds and the bees talk on their own. Explain to them things. Teach your children how you want them to live. How the values that your family represents. It might not represent what I think it should look like, what you think it should look like, but stand for something, or else you'll fall for anything. And I think that's what we've grown up in a generation where a lot of the people that we've grown up with have tried to kind of paint this picture like the American dream family is this bad thing to have. The family with the picket fence and the dog and the 2.5 kids, like, is this bad thing to have. And as a result, so many people have entered into broken marriages, broken relationships, just disjointed families, because the generation before them didn't stand for much, didn't stand like their generation did. Right. Talking, I guess, technically about our grandparents. And I really think that we need to take ownership. We need to teach our nieces how to be treated by a man. Something I want to do with my daughter or daughters is teach her how to go on a date. Go on a date with her. Open the door for her. Teach her what to do. Teach her what a guy should do. What should she expect? Yeah. Instead of giving her a blank notepad and say, okay, go ahead. You tell me what you think a date should look like. Not saying that she needs to have an arranged marriage or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But
that's what I'm gonna say for my daughters. Nah. Yeah, no. My nieces are covered. She's got really good. They have really good parents. My sister and my brother-in-law, they're top notch. My brother-in-law is really, really good dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you said. Ultimately, the result of the sexual exploitation. I mean, for me, it's once again the adults, whatever, whatever sick fantasies adults have. But for me, the victims here are the kids.
Yeah.
Right. And you have a generation of children who are being sexually exploited, who are being exposed to things that are sexually harming them, they're psychologically harming, and it's becoming normalized. Right. Now, that obviously trickles into the families for sure, right? The family is the basic unit of society. If you break down the family, you've broken down the society.
Yeah.
Which there is a huge agenda for that right now.
Right.
And, this whole sexual revolution, I believe, is one of the biggest generals in that army. Right, that's coming and trying to break down the family. But it's like you said, the answer is for men and women to make the decision.
I mean, and it says in the Bible, right, that all things are lawful, but not all things are profitable. And meaning, sure, you can do this thing, but it doesn't mean it's going to produce a profit. That doesn't, like this.
Yeah.
Like you said, adults, go ahead. Especially this. This is definitely not going to produce a profit. This is going to produce a generation that you want it to produce, to be free and to disguise it as being free and letting them make their own choices. That's not what it's about. Yeah, of course, be free, make your own choices, but also teaching them how to discipline their sexual. I mean, there's so many things, but teach them how to curb their hunger, to curb their sexual hunger, to teach them how to walk through these things, and instead of just blammo, here it is, here's an 11-year-old twerk team. Like, it is not something that I want my children to grow up learning.
Yeah.
It's not something that should be normalized, and it should be. And I think that the flag needs to really be waved a lot larger and a lot louder to alert people to not only like a show like this, but the actual thing that's going on. You know, sex trafficking and just like we keep saying, the exploitation of children at such a young age is not okay. And if we don't do something about it now, if we don't raise our voices about it now, I don't know what. I don't want to think about what's going to happen, what the next generation is going to look like. But you know, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot to that. And I know we're kind of.
I feel like
taming
I
it.
could talk about this for hours. Maybe we'll do multiple episodes on this kind of stuff. But gotta stand up and protect the kids.
So what can we? I don't know. What's some advice that we could give? We could give people, you know, to bridge the gap, or to even just kind of give people a voice, or give people, you know, so many people that we know. We come from a culture that has big families, a lot of nieces and nephews running around. What is some, I don't know, what's a bone we can give people out there to help with this?
You gotta step up and you gotta protect. I feel like the word protect is huge. You know, whether you have kids, whether you don't.
Yeah.
Right. Whether you're married, whether you're single. You know, you as a member of society have to make a decision at some point. Like, I'm either going to be part of the problem or I'm going to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
So I think just making that decision, right? But practically what you can do with these kinds of things is money, right? Vote with your dollars, right? If this Netflix thing bothers you, which it should, cancel Netflix.
Yeah.
Right. You know, that $10, $12 a month could go towards something a lot more productive. And,
I think I saw a petition. It was like 740,000 when I looked at it. People that had signed to cancel their Netflix membership.
Yeah.
I multiply that by 10. Let's just say $10. You know.
Yeah.
7.4 million people.
Yeah.
They'll feel it.
The reason they do it is because they make money off of it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so here's a crazy fact. Right. So the website Pornhub, you know, they actually market to children.
Wow.
Like, there was an Instagram ad, basically of like a kid waiting for his parents to leave the house, saying like, "Can't you wait for them to leave?" And I mean, I'm not going to go back and try to find it.
Sure. Yeah.
But you know, who is that pointed at? Who is that directed to?
Right.
Right. Now, if a cigarette company did that, dude, it'd be over for them, right? If you know, if a politician tried to market to kids, it'd be over for them, right? If an alcohol company tried to market to kids like that, it'd be done.
Right.
But the pornography industry and just this sexual culture, they profit off of it, and they know that no one will hold them accountable. All right, so let's hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Money. If you hit their wallets, they'll stop.
And, you know, and I think a lot of people, hopefully a lot of people see this or watch this that potentially have a problem with what we're saying.
Yeah.
Hey, let's have a conversation about it. You know, let's create a space. You can message us, whatever, and we can talk about it like civilized people and not want to rip each other's heads off, and we can come to a common place of agreement. And that's just with everything we talk about. But hopefully, you know, this is a conversation that we can go deeper with people around us. You know, this kind of stuff, it's not cool. And we're gonna, like you said, we're gonna stand up. I mean, we're gonna take a stance. If only our mamas end up watching our stuff, then hey, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So before we take off, before we end the show, what movie are you most looking forward to when theaters open again?
Oh, what movie? Is it bad that I forgot about movie theaters?
It's
I don't know.
probably save you some money.
I just don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to... man, okay, so I think the next slate of Marvel movies is going to be pretty cool. A lot of movies coming out in 2021. I think... I guess I'm kind of... I know I was talking smack about it earlier, but I guess I'm kind of interested in this new Batman. I'm interested.
Kind of interested?
I'll watch it. My expectations are low. Like,
we got to do a whole episode on that.
Like low. Like.
All right, we can't even go there right now because this is gonna keep going.
Yeah,
so
we'll do it.
We'll call it there. But thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you guys listen to podcasts. Make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll catch you next week.
Peace.